Hello, my name is Masudi. I am going live. I'm testing out Ecamm, so that's why you're going to probably see the logo for the next few weeks. Just if you have any thoughts about Ecamm, if you've used it, please leave a comment, a message, let me know, DM me, whatever works for you. So today I'm going to talk about finding your niche, especially if you've been hesitant about finding your niche or through the career. I tend to target entrepreneurs. So if you're an entrepreneur maybe less than 3 years, or maybe you've been in your business 10 to 15 years, but you haven't gotten the traction you wanted, then it may be beneficial to you. So it's time for you to leave your comfort zone. It's time for you to change directions. You're probably thinking you've already tried it, right? And it didn't work. You didn't get the return on your investment that you had hoped. But the one thing I'm going to tell you, the one thing you need to do that's going to be a game changer for you. The one thing you need to do that's going to be able to help you move mountains just by talking to it. And it's time for you to make the change, but it's also time for you to do things differently. And the way it's going to be differently is you're going to position yourself correctly. So if you're an entrepreneur less than 3 years, if you're a seasoned entrepreneur that's been running your business for 10 to 15 years, but in both categories you haven't gotten the traction you hoped, in most cases because it's not your heart. It's probably because the business that you're in, it's not positioned correctly. And it may be time for you to reposition yourself or your business. See, before you can have a clarifying message, before you can be a great storyteller, before you can achieve the success you've been waiting for, you have to be positioned correctly. And since some of you are already on the path, then you need to be repositioned. Hello, my name is Masudi, and I stopped by to tell you that for some of you, you need to reposition yourself and your business in order to take you where you want to go. Because what you are doing right now is not progressing. The path that you're on, the direction that you're taking, is not going to get you to where you want to go. You want to get your breakthrough, achieve your greatness. You want more control over your life and your time, and you want to achieve entrepreneurial freedom. You want to have enough resources to take care of yourself and your family, and maybe even your friends. For some of you, that means repositioning. Repositioning means to intentionally change the direction or to intentionally try and change the perception of you and your business. How many of you have heard of Vince Lombardi? For those of you who don't, he was not just a coach in the NFL. He was one of the best. He has one of the best winning percentages as an NFL head coach. It's like 74%. Right? So the Super Bowl, the biggest NFL game, the winner of that game gets the trophy in his name. And it's called the Vince Lombardi Trophy. So Vince Lombardi once said, it's not whether you get knocked down, it's whether you get back up. And man, I tell you, I thought I had a good thing going. You know, I worked in IT support. And those of you who know me personally know that was my thing, right? I truly love support, helping people, solving their various computer issues. And one of the most fulfilling things for me was knowing that I could get them unstuck. Teaching them ways to make dealing with the computer that much easier, right? I loved it so much. I was always ranked in the top 5. To a place that I was excited about, that I felt fulfilled. I remember one particular day, I walked in to work, and one of my team leads said they need me over in HR. And so I'm thinking, great, they're giving me a promotion, they're giving me a raise or something, or maybe they just got a tech issue they need me to fix. Or maybe it's a special project. I mean, who knows, right? So I walk in the office, and man, I'll never forget. As I sat down, my manager looks at me, and he says, Masudi, don't know how else to tell you this, but we're downsizing, and we're going to have to let you go. I remember thinking to myself, what? Downsizing? You're going to let me go? But I'm one of the best support people you have, and I have the numbers to prove it. And no one even gave me a heads up. Man, I tell you, I remember walking back to my desk, embarrassed, having to collect my things. I remember getting back to the car feeling devastated. Then I started feeling angry. I mean, how can I get up every day, go to work, supporting those people that called in that needed help, and now they let me go? I got to work on time. And no one even gave me a heads up. Did my coworkers know and not warn me? Did my team lead know and not tell me? And at what point, and at that point I said to myself, well, you know what? I can get another job. I mean, working in IT, right? Someone will hire me. So I started applying for jobs, submitting applications, and I kept hearing no after no. And I'm confused because I'm like, why is no one hiring me? And things started to get worse because I was getting behind on my bills, trying to keep up with the rent and electricity, and unable to put gas in my car. And, you know, the rent people want their money every month. You know, I had some savings, but I ended up using it all. I'll never forget the day I had to pick up the phone to call my little brother. You hear me, my little brother? Hey man, can I come crash at your place? I remember when I got over there at my brother's apartment, I remember having to sleep on the floor. You see, the couch had a spring in the middle, so you couldn't sleep on the left side or the right side. You had to, so you couldn't even lay on it at all. You had to sit on the left side or the right side, which means you couldn't sleep on it. I remember sitting on the floor, leaning against the couch, saying to myself, what happened? Like, how did I get here? It was perhaps one of the most difficult times of my life. It's not whether you get knocked down, it's whether you get back up. And when I finally let go of the bitterness and the anger, what I realized is that being let go was probably one of the best things that ever happened to me. You see, I had these goals and these dreams that I wanted to pursue. I wanted to go to school for business. I wanted to upgrade my life, be an entrepreneur at the highest level. And when I realized that if I had stayed at that job doing IT support, I would have never done it. I would have never went back to school. I had to get back up. I had to reposition myself. And today, I'm on a whole new trajectory. So now, instead of chasing a paycheck, I'm chasing down my passion. And guess what? I love knowing that I got back up, that I repositioned myself. Knowing that I'm on passion, that I'm on purpose, that I'm not chasing a paycheck. It's a beautiful feeling. So listen, I know that some of you have things that knocked you down in life. A relationship, a job, maybe it was your health. But I would tell you, it's not whether you get knocked down, it's whether you get back up. And it may be time for you to reposition yourself. And what I know is that you're here on this earth for a reason. There's something that's calling you from within that needs to be shared. So when are you going to share it? How many of you are staying at a job that's not truly benefiting you or your future? It may be time for you to reposition yourself. And I'll say it again, just so you understand. Repositioning means to intentionally change direction and to intentionally change the perception others have of you and your business, which means it's not going to just happen by osmosis. You have to put in some work for it to happen. The key word is intentionally, which means on purpose. That job you're at, working 40, 50, 60 plus hours, they're using you to fulfill their goals, their agendas. I've been there. I know that. I'm thinking if I work 60 plus hours, you know what I mean? I do hard work, it's going to pay off. And in most cases, their goals, the company you work for, their direction has nothing to do with you directly. And for a lot of us, that's fine. And as adults, we make those decisions trading our time for a paycheck because we feel it is a fair exchange. And we believe we receive some type of benefit. But what about your dream, your knowledge that needs to be shared? What about using your job to fund your dream? I remember Lisa Nichols, an amazing motivational speaker, an amazing transformational coach. I attended one of her trainings down in Florida, and she spoke about funding her dream. And she went to a bank and opened up a bank account, and she started putting a small portion of her income, placing it into that account. I believe like $110. And she would write on that moment the portion of the check, funding her dream. She did this every 2 weeks. And she increased a little each time, like 5%. And then she stayed consistent. And as she continued, things started opening up for her, right? She started receiving money from other places. She was using her skill sets to generate more income. And so because of that, she was able to put more money in her bank account. Well, after 3 years, she goes into the bank to check her balance. And she gives to tell her name. She's like, hello, my name is Lisa Nichols. I need to check the balance of my account. The teller was so excited, right? Saying, "You're the funding my dream lady." The other tellers, right, circle around. Then the manager comes out, right? And they ask you the big question. What's your dream? And at that moment, she didn't even know. She said she was still kind of putting it together. But when she looked in that piece of paper that had her balance, the amount read $62,500. She was like, "You must have the wrong person's balance." And they said, "No, that money belongs to you." And they told her, "Whatever your dream is, you can fund it now." And with that, she moved from Los Angeles, California to San Diego, California. And as the folks like to say, the rest is her story. So maybe you're nervous. Maybe you are not sure about what to say. Maybe you feel you need a certain degree. I can tell you I have all the degrees you need, and I can assure you, I don't say that to even impress you. I'm just saying that we all choose to learn in different arenas, in different ways, right? And so if the knowledge I have is going to be beneficial to you, that's going to save you some time, I don't have a problem sharing it, right? I think that's maybe the challenge sometimes with people. We want to keep all the information to ourselves, and that's not the case. See, we're all seeking to learn more. We all want to learn something in different ways, whether you believe it or not. So why do you seek to learn? Curiosity, to avoid mistakes, to learn about a process, to learn how to do something faster, easier. The learning is like a map that you get before going on a road trip. And for some of us, it's better to learn from someone who has already lived it, done it, experienced it, so you can cut through the fluff and get right to the knowledge that is necessary. That's why sometimes on YouTube videos, you even see how someone's going to show you how to do, I don't know, I'm a IT in the background, how to do something specific, and and it's a 5-minute video, but then it starts but they tell you if you start right at 2 minutes and 20 seconds, that's when they start to teach you, right? To get rid of the fluff or maybe the intro part that may not be pertinent to what you're trying to learn, especially if you're trying to, solve something kind of fast. And one of the skill sets I was able to acquire and perfect from working in IT support was to take complex information and explain it in a way that makes it easier to digest. So the people on the phone that needed computer help will be able to follow, implement my steps, and execute my process so they could, achieve their desired goal, which in most cases was to get the internet back up and running, get the computer back up and running, things of that nature. And that's what I'm going to do with you. I implore you to follow my process, implement these steps, and to actually execute these action steps to completion. These based on steps that I put up that are based upon years of experience, years of hands-on entrepreneurship, years of education from different environments, attending conferences and events taught by many of the people that you already know and love and respect. And you don't have to spend tens of thousands of dollars to get that information, because I'm going to show you something right now. And hopefully that'll help you get back on track, back up and running the way you truly desire. I'm going to share with you this process quickly. And big reason people are scared of sharing what it is they know. They feel like you need to try to solve the whole world, but you don't. You just need to focus on your specific niche. So allow me to ask you a question. Who would receive the most benefit from your knowledge? Let me ask you another question. Do you know the kinds of mechanics or doctors that make the most money? Specialists. They're specialists because they chose to work on a specific area over and over and over. So who do you feel is going to fix your car better? Whether you have a Honda or a BMW, a general mechanic or one who specializes in Hondas and BMWs? Well, the specialists, of course. Those mechanics and doctors who are specialists have repositioned themselves not just to work on all cars or treat all ailments, even though they probably can, but they chose to focus on their niche of choice. So when we talk about repositioning, talk about finding your niche, we're talking about specializing. We're talking about specializing versus being a generalist, which means focus on one thing, one particular area that you love, that brings you joy, brings you happiness. And what I'm encouraging you to do, what is the specific thing you do best? The thing that you feel would serve other people. We're not talking about helping 7 billion people in the world. Only one person that has responsibility. That's not you. That's not me. We're talking about your area of expertise. You can do it this way. Start with determining who is it you want to help. Who is it that you want to help serve most? Find out what they need, and then make that your career. Make that your niche. Think of it like this. Was there something you wanted that you had to learn, you had to research, find the answer? Maybe you had to search a whole bunch of different YouTube videos and blogs and stuff and put it all together in order to get the actual recipe right, or, a hairstyle, whatever it may be. Maybe you can save someone else that time, a whole lot of time, sharing them that answer. But what was that feeling when you figured it out finally? You can try to give someone else that feeling. How do you solve it? What was it? Web design problem? Was it dealing with some kind of trauma or divorce? Specific task? As you think about this, you have to get out of your head. You know what it is? You know deep down inside you what it is you want to do. It's time for you to reposition. Reposition means to intentionally change direction and to intentionally change the perception of you and your business. So when are you going to reposition yourself? Repositioning, whether for yourself or for your business, begins with the mindset. So Mel Robbins, person who wrote the 5-second rule, has a quick method to change your mindset. And step one is to get out of autopilot. Getting out of autopilot means our mind is sometimes defaulted to tell us we can't really change something when the truth is you can. If you're a right-handed basketball player and you want to use your left hand, the only way to do so is become intentional. It has to be on purpose. You have to practice it. You have to work on it. You have to use it's the same concept that helps you transitioning from automatically thinking negatively to thinking positively. So how do I do this, Masudi? Well, step one, you get out of autopilot. Step two, intentionally start telling yourself that regardless of your age, regardless of when you finish your degree, regardless of that you have been in business for what you've been doing for the last 10, 15 years, regardless of what you've been doing the last 10 to 15 years, you can finish pushing forward. You can start working on getting those skill sets. You need to start launching your business now. Start doing what you need to do to get back into school, get your real estate license now. Do what you need to do to upgrade your life now and drive your influence and go after what you truly want. Intentionally tell yourself you can keep pushing forward. You can start that business. You can do that thing, and that business you start will be successful. Start intentionally thinking it will happen, and then step three, start writing it down so that you can do it. Intentionally writing it down. So here's how the whole process looks. First, write down all the negative words in the statement so you can see it. Now ask yourself, what is the cost of not taking that next step forward towards your greatness, not moving forward? What is the cost of telling yourself those negative things repeatedly? My mother would say to me, stop playing those negative tapes in your head. So I'm telling you to stop playing those negative tapes in your head. Now that you have written those negative things down, you can deal with it. Now that you've seen it, you can deal with it. But you have to be intentional. Tell yourself you are smart. You have the education. Tell yourself I'm good enough right now. Go after that thing. You don't have to wait anymore. But what is the cost if you continue on the path that you're currently on that's not going after your dream? The dream you have is calling you. But it does take work. And if you start to hear those negative tapes playing in your head, you have to intentionally tell yourself the opposite. To intentionally write it down, the opposite. That's how you get out of autopilot. Write down the opposite thing. You can do it. You are worthy. You can make it. You can reposition yourself. You can keep pushing forward. You can drive your influence. Allow him to order your steps. Your dream is calling you. Just follow his footsteps. He will lead you. I hope this was helpful to you. And as I finish up, I just want to ask you one question. And this is a live. You don't have a worksheet or a workbook or anything. So my question for you is, why are you here? Why are you really here? And what is my last question would probably be, what is it you want to do? Just think about that. What is it you want to do? So thank you for your time. My one challenge for you is to share with me one thing you learned. Send me an email, DM, so forth. Maybe I'll come back tomorrow. Maybe I'll do a challenge in the future. But for now, just leave a comment, send me a DM, send me an email. Remember to reposition yourself, keep pushing forward so you can drive your influence. Have a good evening. Have a good night.